So, what are we going to understand here? We are going to do this activity here, okay? Describe the CBR trend shown in the graph and suggest 2 reasons for this pattern. Growth birth rate per thousand population. So in the 1950-1955, the CBR was about 37. Now it has decreased. Where we are now, 2020, it has decreased to around 18. So why is that? Because we have more birth control, more technologies to avoid diseases. Also, young people doesn't want to have kids anymore. So that is the thing, okay? And the prediction is that the population or the number of birds decrease over time. At both the global and local scale, variation in mortality rates occur for the following reasons. So we are talking now about crude death rate, CDR, deaths. Remember, D deaths, B births. So this tells us why people is dying around the world. So age structure, depending we have more elderly people than young people. Social class, they are poorer, they are rich, they have more money to pay for medical attention. Occupation, place of residence, child mortality, and IMR, that is infant mortality rate. When we talk about childs, we're talking about kids from over 1 year, an infant, kids from or babies from 0 to 1 year. So we have here, crude death rate is the number of deaths per 1,000 people. So it's the same like CBR. This is the number of births per 1,000 people. This is the number of deaths per 1,000 people. Note how the death rate, CDR, falls first, followed by the CBR. So we're going to analyze this picture in the following. Explain why there is a time lag between the CDR and CBR. So first, the red line is population growth, the purple line is death rate, and this one is the birth rate, as you can see. So we're going to analyze this. We have like different stages depending of the population and why they change. So depending of the population, we're going to have one different stage. In this one, the birth rate and the death rate are like balanced. So we have the same number of births, the same number of deaths, and the population is going to maintain the same levels, right? But what's going to happen if we have this stage 2, early expanding? The death rate is going to decrease and the birth rate is increasing. So the population is growing, as you can see in this picture, see? Now we have that the birth rate in the third stage. This is the third stage. The birth rate is decreasing because maybe more control or policies about having kids or natality controls. And the death rate is going to be maintained. See? So the population is going to increase again. It's going to maintain the same levels because the death rate is decreasing. And then in the fourth low stationary stage, we have that the birth rate is fluctuating and the death rate is maintained. So the population growth is maintained or maybe it's going to decrease. So there is a relationship between how this CDR and CBR influence over population growth. I want to show you something about why we have 4 stages. So let me show you population dynamics, how everything changed, okay? Let me see demographic transition model. So this is demographic transition model in which we have again first stage, second, third, and fourth, and how the population growth depending of the CBR and the CDR. So stage 1, birth rate is high. Why? Lack of family planning, high infant mortality rate, putting babies in the bank, need for workers in agriculture, so people doesn't want to have more kids, religious beliefs, they can have the children that they want, children as economic assets, they can use children to work or to get a bonus from the state, from the government. Death rate is high because so a lot of people is dying. Why? High levels of disease, famine, that is violence against female, lack of clean water and sanitation, lack of healthcare,